I don't even know how to start off this video. A giant nuke just dropped, a bombshell. Mr. President, the second tower has been hit when it comes to idubbbz and Anisa. Let me catch you up to speed. Yesterday, well, today I was watching this live. Today, Ethan Klein from the H3 podcast went live and had idubbbz as boxing coach with him to talk about idubbbz and Anisa. And if you hated idubbbz before or Anisa, if you thought these people were horrible, disgusting, evil, you would be right. And it is much worse than I thought. These people are truly worse than Hitler. And in my opinion, they're worse than Hassan Piker. And truth be told, I made like 3 videos back to back about idubbbz and Anisa. I was gonna go work on a Hamas Piker one, but then I saw this and I was like, I have to get this out within 24 hours because it's just insane the amount of stuff that came out and the amount of stuff that was revealed. I mean, I was watching this live and there was a moment where my jaw was legitimately on the floor. I was legitimately shook to the core. We're gonna get into all of that, and all the following clips will be provided via Yeet. Shout out to him, the best news guy when it comes to online stuff. One of the only people that I actually trust. Nothing but love towards this guy, and shout out to Yeet for capturing these very special clips. And if idubbbz's career wasn't 6 feet under, this does it. Forget anything I've ever said. This was the plane hitting the second tower. This is what destroyed everything and destroyed idubbbz as a human being. Not as a content creator. As a content creator, he fucking sucks, but as a human being, he is so bad. And once again, these two people are not some randos from Twitter or anything. These two people worked with idubbbz and Anisa closely. This guy was training Ian to be a boxer. And no, it is not his fault that idubbbz is a horrible boxer, but we're gonna get into all of this. Before we get into it, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. Every single day we get closer to 600K. Guys, we could do this. Tell everyone that you know to subscribe right now, and I promise I will love you forever. Let's just get right into it. I mean, everything that happened here was talk worthy. Let's start a little soft. I don't want to spoil the whole video. How about this? Mike, idubbbz's former coach, reveals that Ian and Anisa flew out a whole bunch of influencers and paid for an entire hotel for over 300 of them, plus parties during Creator Clash 2, during the event that flopped. Now, I'm a little salty once again that I wasn't invited to this. I guarantee you that at least half of these influencers were irrelevant AF. They could barely crack 1,000 views, but goated individuals, people like me, people like these Apaches, people like Tectone, people like Pegasus, people like WestJet, who are much than probably half of them, let's just keep it real, will never be invited because we're controversial, right? When it comes to the whole invitation shit, of course I'm joking, I literally don't give a fuck, but it's like, you guys are spending money on the wrong people. Like, a whole bunch of irrelevant people with dead channels or dead social medias shouldn't be there, especially if you're broke, and we're gonna get into that in a bit. So, just more mindless spending. You know what? I actually want Creator Clash 3 to flop, to crash and burn. Not a very good look if you ask me.
Details that you guys shared with me. For example, one being that I think it was you, Kate, that mentioned that he and Anisa did in fact pay for Hassan and all of his compatriots to travel to and stay at Creator Clash 2.
Yes.
Yeah, so they were talking about that long before, about how they had to fly in all these people. First of all, they rented the hotel for over 300 creators and flew a lot of them in. When the first year it was much more scaled back. We just had a couple floors of like some place, like a nice suite place, but it wasn't extravagant at all. And then the second year they did that full hotel for 300 creators. They flew a lot of people in. One of the people they flew in was Froggy Tonic, and they flew him in from France.
That's insane.
And Froggy had told us that he was there to salvage the documentary.
Yeah.
And that was super.
No way. I mean, sorry, a minute in, ain't no way multi-millionaire Hassan Piker got flown in for free. This guy could afford his hotel. This guy could have afforded his flight. Dude, that guy could have flown in the private jet. But no, he had the brokies known as idubbbz and Anisa fly him in. and then spend, God only knows, the amount of money they spend on this hotel. Thousands of dollars, and then the flights as well, right? Dude, that's insane. Yeah, no wonder they're broke. They're spending money like crazy on the stupidest things possible. Like, I guarantee you at least 30 of the influencers that were invited could have afforded their own Airbnb or hotel, but no, everyone's just taking advantage of idubbbz and Anisa, and it's like, well, I don't give a fuck. I don't feel bad for idubbbz. If he goes broke and then I see him in LA in about a month and he's doing fentanyl on the street, I'd be like, okay, whatever, you know, that's what you get for being a cuck and a loser. I don't care. Like, if you go broke, you know, that's on you, skill issue. Everything's making sense now. Now it makes sense why they didn't raise any money for charity and why they're struggling financially. It's because they're doing these huge parties, these huge events, flying people in. I'm gonna get you a hotel and I'm gonna fly you in VIP, first class, the whole influencer package. Is this still about charity or is this just to flex? Which one is it?
Having interactions with everyone. So we didn't know if that meant they were going to make the second documentary about how, or the actual documentary about how like Anisa was responsible for the event, because she did put a lot of work in for the first event and she did put a lot of work in for the second, but at the same time, in the first event, she didn't get credit for it. So she felt like she deserved all the credit. So I think that's why they paid Froggy Tonic to come film her and follow her around for the second event. But yeah, they flew in a lot of people. They rented out the whole hotel for 300 creators. And when we asked them if Ian's dad was going to be there, because he was there for the first event, they said they couldn't afford to fly Ian's dad in. It was too expensive.
Yeah. I know.
No way. This cannot be real. So you could afford to fly in over 300 influencers and get them a hotel room, but you can't afford to fly in your own dad? Legitimately the reason why you're here? Truth be told, it just doesn't make any sense, and it does make idubbbz look pretty bad. And it's like, is idubbbz okay? Is he in control of his own life? I guarantee you that Anisa legitimately controls every aspect of Ian's life. So Ian, this is when you're supposed to take a shower at 10 a.m. and you're supposed to brush your teeth at least 4 times per day because your breath fucking smells. We're gonna get into that in a bit. This will make sense later. And at 3 p.m. you have to remember, because you know you're always shitting your pants, and at 4 p.m. you gotta worship me for 5 hours straight and tell me how I'm really, really good for you and how I totally didn't destroy your career. Anisa is insane. Like, this girl is destroying his life. And this is not on some parasocial shit. I don't care about idubbbz. I've never talked to him, and I think at this point I will never talk to him, which makes me want to cry, but I think I'll live. It's like, dude, she's ruining your life. And once again, this is not on some parasocial shit, and this is not me trolling and being funny. She is legitimately destroying his life. I guarantee you, she was like, yeah, we gotta fly all of these influencers. And idubbbz was like, well, what about my dad? And she was like, no, we're not doing that. We're only doing the influencers. And idubbbz was like, okay, I don't even like my dad anyways. He fucking sucks. No, that's insane. You could afford to fly in and accommodate 300 random influencers, but you can't afford to fly your dad in? Are you serious, bruh? You know what idubbbz needs? idubbbz needs a nice ass whooping. That's what he needs.
It's pretty sad. And Froggy Tonic told me directly, because I met him at the hotel, right, where we were all staying at in Tampa for CC2. And he was like, oh, you're the videographer that has all the content of Ian sparring. And I said, yes, I'm super excited. I've been waiting for this documentary, but it never came out. So I heard that you're taking it over now and you're going to help with the editing. And that's when Froggy Tonic told me that, yeah, Ian and Anisa brought out his whole crew from France.
His whole crew?
I think it was just him.
Well, he had a few people that were holding the cameras, his camera guys. Because the interesting thing was that usually when like someone is a videographer, they would be the one filming most of the time. But it was interesting to me that
he was just directing.
Yeah, he was more directing.
This fucking guy thinks he's Spielberg.
Scorsese.
What the hell's going on?
idubbbz thinks he's fucking Quentin Tarantino. Oh yeah, so we're gonna have like 6 cameras here, set up the lighting. We're gonna make a real movie, okay? We're gonna make cinema here. Yo, no wonder idubbbz is broken down bad and needed to return to make shitty ass content cops at the age of 40 years old. He's down bad. He needs the money. Look at his spending habits. Even if you're a multi-millionaire, which I'm sure Ian is or was at some point, it's like, dude, you cannot be spending money like that. Even if you have $10 million, if you live like like this, you could go broke within 6 months. You gotta be smart with your money. That's insane to me. No wonder he couldn't raise any money for charity. This guy or his wife is just spending all of his money on the stupidest shit possible. You do not need to make a documentary, okay, little bro? No one cares. It's probably gonna get like 110 views. You're not even gonna make your money back. So why are you making a documentary, and why are you flying over 300 people and then giving them hotel rooms? It just seems like too much. Like, if you're gonna pay for the flights and hotels, like, I guess it'll be fine if it's the fighters, right? It's 10 people. That's a very kind, empathetic thing for idubbbz to do. But booking a hotel for over 300 influencers is insane. And I guarantee you idubbbz didn't even know 80% of them. That's wild. I would not be surprised if idubbbz starts an OnlyFans, but not for his wife. This time it's gonna be for him. He's gonna have to spread those cheeks for $9.99 per month. But guys, it doesn't stop here. It just keeps getting worse.
I didn't
Hold
feel
on,
like it was
guys.
my
I gotta
place.
sit on that for a sec. He stunk up the gym so bad you had to move him away from people.
Yes.
Okay.
Pretty
Okay.
good.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me just sit with that.
0.5 hotter, as if like he fucking his breath didn't stink all the time.
Yeah.
Another question. I heard that Anisa was talking shit about me and us even before Creator Clash 1.
Yeah, she had said, like, I forget what she said, like, but she had said that she didn't like associating with you guys for some reason, but then like you had been doing better or something, so they were happy to go on your show. It was it was vague, but because she would talk, she would kind of talk poorly about a lot of different people, so it was easy to just lose track of it. But yeah, she definitely had mentioned like something about you and Hila, and like, or maybe it was just you, but somebody had done something that had offended her at one point.
I'm
so
sure.
She thought, yeah, so she felt like you guys weren't like good people or something. But then once you could do their show, but she loved AB and Lena. She always loved them. Yeah.
She would. So here's
There
the
you
thing.
go. Who doesn't love AB and Lena? To be
Yeah.
fair.
Good question.
To be fair, right? Who doesn't love AB and Lena?
Yeah, she wanted to get her Lebanese credit, so that's why she like loved so much.
She's trying to get her Lebanese credit up.
Yeah. He would always, because she would be like, they're Muslim and I'm Muslim.
Yeah, it's.
And I was like, everything you do is haram. Like nothing you do is. I have Muslim fighters.
Yes.
They pray 5 times a day. They
don't touch women.
Like,
besides your wife.
They're a couple of them are from Dagestan, right? And in Dagestan, you're not allowed to shake a woman's hand. Like, but they put their hand on. They're very respectful, right?
Let's just get this out of the way. Anisa is not a fucking Muslim, all right? She's a poser. She's a wannabe Muslim because it's trendy. Am I saying stuff that's gonna get me canceled? I don't know where I read it or where the memes came from, but she took a DNA test a few years ago and she was like, oh my god, guys, I'm like 8% Arab or something like that. Or something. I don't remember the specifics of it, but it was like 8% Muslim or something like that. I don't remember. I'll try to find the meme. I mean, it's not a meme. It's an actual thing that she tweeted. She was like, guys, I'm 8% Lebanese. That's what it was. She was celebrating on Twitter the fact that she was like 8% Lebanese or something like that. And I was just like, bro, you're 40 years old. Come on now. You're a little too old to be doing this. Oh my god, guys, I got diagnosed with OCD, ADHD, bipolar disorder. I got diagnosed by everything. Look at me, guys. I'm so quirky. You're a grown-ass woman. I mean, like, guys, oh my god, I got my 23andMe results back, and I'm 8% Lebanese. Can you guys look at me? And then she started fucking crying. Please, you're embarrassing yourself. I feel embarrassed for you. She's a poser. She wants to be a Muslim so bad. I mean, like the guy says, everything she does is haram. Tattoos? I don't think they'll be cool with that. OnlyFans? Or is she a modern Muslim? I don't know, guys. I don't know. With Anisa, anything's possible. And when Coach Mike started talking about how they were talking trash about Ethan and Hila, I am not surprised. Legitimately, 90% of influencers are horrible and they're fake. I think that's one of the many reasons why I like low-key kind of hesitate to collab with other people or become friends, because it's like, you don't know who's gonna use you, who's like cool with you up front, and then behind the scenes are like, man, this guy fucking sucks. I want him dead. He should be banned. I report him every single day. And you know what? I've made like 5 to 8 decent friends on YouTube that I've met way before I popped off. I'm cool with that. Okay. I don't need new friends. I don't need anything like that, because it's like, you don't know who's gonna turn on you or who's just using you for clout, relevancy, or because you're hot right now. You know what I mean? So that's why when someone's like, oh, we should collab, I'm like, well, I don't even know this person. I don't know. It's weird. When you're a YouTuber or you do social media, you really gotta be careful with who you trust, because not everyone's genuine. Believe it or not, there's a lot of clout chasers. there's people who just want to leech off you, and you might think, Unk, who the fuck would want to leech off you? And that's the same question that I ask myself. But I mean, there's people out there, very desperate people, who will literally latch onto you and hate you. And that sounds insane. Thankfully, it's never happened to me, I think. Yeah, I don't know. This whole influencer world, it's really hard to find genuine people that I guess you can count on, people that you could talk to. Very, very hard. And idubbbz and Anisa are the perfect definition of that. They're super nice to you when it's a popular thing to do, but the second it's no longer convenient to them, they switch like that, and they hated you all along. They knew stuff about you for many years, but they didn't say anything until now. No, that's not how it really works. idubbbz's former coach Mike leaks insane reason why he was fired. I want you guys to keep this in mind. This is not a joke. This is not satirical. This is real.
Because then we went back to the hotel, and then they were eating at Denny's, and they said, we need to have a meeting. So I have to go to Denny's. And they pretty much then talked about how they were going to have to fire me because I reminded Ian of his father when his father would yell at him as a kid.
No, idubbbz, please. This guy kind of looks like my dad. My dad screamed at me once because I was a fucking dumb retard. I'm gonna have to fire you because you remind me of my father. Was this before or after idubbbz learned empathy? That's what I want to know. Is that pre-empathy? Maybe it would have been a whole different story if it was after empathy. Maybe you guys could have some father time. Now, idubbbz is the biggest loser online right now. He is a massive pussy. I think that's the best way to describe it. Him and his wife, and I'm saying this unironically, or is this concerned trolling? idubbbz and his wife are worse than Hitler. Yes, I'm not joking. I'm pretty sure Ye might agree with me on this one. Anisa is worse than Hitler. idubbbz is a million times worse than Hitler. They're just the worst, and just when you think it couldn't get any worse, guys, I'm here to present you with one, if not the worst clip I've seen during this whole interview.
It's very salacious, so it's totally up to you. You can pretend like you don't even know what I'm talking about if you want. But what I've heard is that she was hitting on one of his sparring partners and was obsessed with him and gave him a VIP pass to the event.
A lot of his sparring partners got the passes, but she definitely had a big crush on one of the guys that would come in and spar with them, because anytime they would spar, she would just be super into it and watch every moment. And then, even if he would like beat Ian up, she'd be very into it. And then,
I want to say that, I want to say that before. So Anisa never gave shout outs to Michael training Ian at all, but she put out the first video of Ian like getting rocked in sparring when Ian was sparring with her crush. Yeah, it was our friend Gabe. She shared it. Yeah, and we have a clip too. You guys can share. I would call him Gorgeous Gabe.
Yeah, idubbbz is never beating the cuck allegations. This is reaching Sneeko levels of cuckery, guys. Oh my god, I don't even know what to say at this point. I mean, like, dude, think about this for a second, right? You risk your whole career for this chick. You push away your fans. You're losing your revenue stream, or one of your biggest, if not the biggest, revenue streams. You sacrifice everything for this girl. You are the punching bag of the internet for the last 5 years. No one likes you. No one takes you seriously. You're broke. Your events suck and they're flopping. You're bending over backwards for this chick, and she has a crush on someone else, and that someone else is beating you up. Ain't no way. If this was my life, I would kill myself, okay? If my wife was this horrible, I would absolutely uninstall in real life, all right? I would game over my life. I just could not take that. That's so embarrassing. I literally destroyed everything I've built by myself, and then for my wife to just be flirty with the person that's training me or fighting me or sparring with me, nah, that would not fly with me. Do I feel bad for idubbbz? Absolutely not. I think it's hilarious. I think he deserves it. I think he's a very shitty person, and we're gonna get into why in a second. I mean, this is just funny to me. Like, imagine your wife being so into you getting beat up that she gives this guy a VIP package or VIP pass. This is insane. Let's say this happens, right? They get a divorce. Do you actually think idubbbz could come back from this? Can you imagine the comments he would get if this gets more traction? It's over for him. Like, there's no coming back from this. This guy destroyed his career for a woman that doesn't even respect him. How sad. I wish I could say that was the worst of it, but nah, it just keeps going.
Because you've already exposed her for being like the first person that Ian's ever been with, right?
Yes.
So in my opinion, what happened was She even told us, she used to always tell her mom, I'm going to be with a millionaire. And so we think that once
She
she
used
kind
to
of got
tell
on,
her mom that she would be with a millionaire? How do you know
her mom
that?
told her that it had to be someone rich.
How did you know that?
Well, she told
she
us.
would tell us that.
It was, I know, I remember exactly. It was when we were in Vegas going to the other podcast, and we were inside the Uber, and we were with Ian and Anisa. And Anisa said that like her mom only had two expectations for her to marry someone that was rich and also to be of her religion, right? And so she said that Anisa goes, well, I mean, I didn't get someone that was of my religion, but at least I got one part of it right. He's rich. And then she like laughed about it, and then he was in the car, and you could tell he was bothered by it.
I was bothered.
Who wouldn't be bothered by that?
This is so awesome.
Yeah, this is on. It's like a fountain.
This is awesome.
Anisa being a gold digger. Am I surprised? Hell nah. I'm not surprised by this. I mean, everyone kind of knew this, right? That Anisa is a glorified booby streamer. She's an OnlyFans girl, and of course, she's a gold digger. Like, this is probably the least shocking thing. The shocking thing for me was that she doesn't see the problem with it. That's what she talks about it so openly. And according to them, it made idubbbz extremely uncomfortable. If someone said that about me, I would break up with them immediately. Hell no. I believe it or not, guys, I have a little bit of self-respect for myself, okay? It's not totally gone. I just can't imagine my girlfriend or my wife, whatever, being like, yeah, you know, I didn't get someone of my religion, but at least I got someone that's rich. I would go Chris Brown on her. Yeah, that's too far. We gotta cut that. I would break up with her on the spot. I'd be like, get the fuck out of here, and then kick her out of the car, because ain't no way. That's beyond disrespectful. The funny thing here is that I don't care, nor do I feel bad for idubbbz. I don't care. He made the decision as a 33-year-old man to push his fans away, go to the Hassan community, and betray his friend of many years, that friend being Ethan. And look where that got him. People are exposing him and Anisa for being horrible people. I mean, we already knew this, but this is coming from his coach that was around during CC1 and CC2, if I'm not mistaken. It's not some random fucking Twitter user or some Redditor. This is someone that was with them constantly. Do I think idubbbz is a cuck? I believe it now. After hearing that story with the sparring partner, I do believe they have something like that going on. Anisa, if you need someone, a partner, my DMs on IG are open. Feel free to hit me up if we need to make idubbbz one. I am willing to volunteer, okay? Yeah, today I'm out of pocket. Today I just don't care. Let's just continue, because this is another top 3 worst things that they've done so far. The tweet says Kate, which is this woman right here, shares a tragic story of being a child bride and how Ian and Anisa ignored her when she asked them to help. Once again, my question is this pre-empathy or after empathy? Because that is a very important detail, okay? I want to know, was idubbbz an empathetic 32-year-old, or was he a not so empathetic 31-year-old?
I'm a child bride survivor, and at the age of 12, I was put into a child marriage from the time I was 12 until 23. Within my child marriage, I had 2 kids when I was 15 and 17. And this happened in America, okay? And Ian and Anisa are well aware of my story because I've had them in my home. They've seen my kids and everything. And so last year, right, 2024, I learned that there was a House bill in Washington State trying to pass House Bill 1455 to end child marriage. And so when I learned of this bill, I thought to myself, even though it had been 15 years since I escaped my prison, like, this is a chance for me to come forward and tell my story. I sent, so Michael and I went to Olympia in Washington. We met with politicians. We lobbied to support the bill. I gave my public testimony to support the bill. And, you know, I was on Seattle Times and television and everything. And I reached out to Ian and Anisa, and I asked them if they could help, you know, share the information, because it was really important to me that this bill pass. And they just both left me on red. But guess what? Today, when they saw the highlights on Ian's story that we were going to be on here, Anisa was texting me and Michael, and they were like,
they ignored us when we were like trying to fight child marriage. But then when they found out,
are they pro child marriage?
They take a hard stance.
It makes one. Begs the question. Wait, so how? And if you're uncomfortable talking about this, refrain. But it sounds. How did you get married at 12?
So basically, in Washington State, there's no law to prevent parents from marrying their children. So as long as there's a parental consent, then the judge on it and it happens, it could just marry a child at the age of 2.
What?
Now, this is one of the most shocking things because, you know, Anisa and idubbbz are always like, we're good people. We're positive, right? We're wholesome. We love everyone. We support everyone. And the internet just hates us for no reason. And it's like, I knew this day one. I knew these people were absolutely horrible individuals since I started talking and preaching about X, Y, and Z. I knew they were horrible, but I didn't know they were this bad. Kate asking you to help and all you do is leave them on red. It's pretty shitty, especially when it's a very important issue and something that is very serious. You would think someone like idubbbz and Anisa would help or do something, or at least have the decency to reply, nah, we're not really interested. But to just leave them on red is crazy. I wouldn't even do this, and I'm a horrible texter, but if a friend of mine asked me to do this, there's two options. You can reply with, yeah, of course, or nah, it's not for me. No one should be forced into anything, but just leaving them unseen, and then the second you know you're about to get exposed and cooked in front of 40,000 people live, that's when you actually remember to reply. But before, nah, I'll just leave you in red for a whole year until it's convenient to me. You guys are horrible people. Not only are they shitty content creators, but they're also disgusting human beings. You already know what I'm about to say. It just gets worse, my amigos and amigas.
Open our own gym. We actually had asked Ian if he could help us open a gym, not even financially, because at the time we were okay. So we were like, hey, could you just help us out by like signing as a guarantor? And he had told us in no world could he ever help us.
He said that?
Yes.
Literally.
He said it like
quote.
in a mean way?
Yes.
In no world. He said, in no world could I help you.
Why would he respond like that?
He did.
Yeah.
He
so
did. Yeah.
Wait, why? When was that? When did he say that?
That was
right after the second creator class.
Yeah, it was
in no world can I help you?
September of 2020. It was actually like a year
It was
after.
July. No, I know exactly.
Okay.
And I know exactly because I remember when we found that spot. So we found a spot in July 2023 after CC2. And I didn't think that like the 250K hit them that hard because when they made it seem like, oh, they're fine and they're moving on and all these other things, right? And so Michael and I had the capital for our business, but we needed a personal guarantor to help us because we have a new LLC. And so I told Michael, you know, maybe we should ask Ian and Anisa because when they came to us, they had no fight promoter, they had no manager, they had nothing. They were just the two of them, and we didn't know who the hell they were, right? But we stuck it out with them, and we helped them. So even if they couldn't be that personal guarantor for us, they can guide us, right? They can be like, hey, let me give you some referrals or something.
Let me put you in, yeah, right.
Yeah, but instead they responded with, in no world would we or would we like help you guys.
Why so mean? Why were they so mean?
And I believe that was Anisa texting, not Ian, because those are her words. She always uses the words in no world.
Yeah,
that's her favorite word.
Yeah.
In no world would I ever support anything that idubbbz ever does. Now I'm actually preying on the charity's downfall. I'm kidding. I'm not that evil, okay? Even though some people think I'm like this demonic, insane person, I actually have a heart. I'm actually a very loving individual if you get to know me. This is crazy. Truth be told, the whole podcast is worth watching. I'll link it down below. There's a lot of stuff that I just can't cover because the podcast was like 3 hours long, 2.5. Well, their segment was pretty long. There's just so much information out there regarding these two that these people just decided to talk about openly, and I'm glad that the shitty behavior that Anisa and idubbbz have is finally coming to the light. I'm sure tomorrow there's going to be a billion commentary videos about this. I think that's good. More people need to know the truth about idubbbz and Anisa and how horrible they are, not only on screen but also in real life. It's like, no wonder they have no friends. No wonder idubbbz's career died. He's horrible. She's horrible. They're both disgusting human beings.
Actually believing it. But so for that second event, so I tell him he needs to do 2-a-days. This is like 2 weeks before the fight. I'm like, we need to do your 2-a-days. And I said, my brand is at stake. Well, he went and told Anisa that I told him my brand was at stake. So the next day she comes into the gym super mad and she's like, our brand is at stake. We're $500,000 in the hole right now. And we're like,
I wish I knew that. I wish I knew that at that time. I think a lot of the fighters would have liked to have known that. I don't think none of them needed to be in the dark about that, you know?
Yes, completely. Well, and that's the thing. They said you guys didn't promote enough, but they weren't honest about the fact that they were spending the money from the ticket sales on the hotel, on flying people in, on all these other things. So it was just like,
so those decisions, the gala decisions, were made while in the red.
Yes.
I have a question about that.
So she was like, we're already down 500,000 And she still had time to cancel stuff when she said that? Like, how before the event was that?
Yeah. I mean, it was 2 weeks. It was 2 weeks before the event. I mean, they
So
knew
she
they
could
were
have made some
500K
last
in
minute
the hole.
moves. Yeah.
They knew they were 500K in the hole long before that, right? That's just when they yelled at us about it.
Yeah.
So they could have definitely made moves to reduce spending.
She wanted that awards show so bad the next day. They really, really wanted to have that awards show so she could give out awards. Once again, you had heard, like Ian said, he didn't want to have the fight just end and have everybody go home the next day.
He said, I'll quote him because it's very rich. He says that the first time afterwards, he woke up and everybody was gone. And he found it super depressing because he didn't get a chance to process his trauma, which seems a little bit hyperbolic, frankly, if I'm being honest. I mean, it's like a self-inflicted charity event. I wouldn't call that exactly I wouldn't put that up with like maybe like fighting in a war. I don't know. But but I guess we all define trauma differently. But so he goes, so in that case, I wanted to throw a party afterwards where we could all talk to each other and process our trauma. And then he says, we lost money, but I don't regret throwing the after party.
idubbbz deserves everything. He's getting his way. And I'm here to celebrate idubbbz' downfall. And here's the thing, right? He did this to himself. He's the one that allowed Anisa into his life because he lost his virginity when he was 29 years old. Prior to that, he had never felt the touch of a woman. And now he thinks he's all that because he got to smash at the age of Now he thinks he's above everyone else and the slob tubers and all of this drama. And it's like, bro got pussy once and turned into a horrible, disgusting person. That's crazy. Most people, you know, they get some and then they become happy. And the complete opposite happened with idubbbz. It's gonna just crashed and burned. If I was idubbbz, I don't think I would be here, guys. I'm gonna keep it real. Flop event, flop life, flop wife, just flop everything. I mean, this downfall is humongous. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a downfall this bad. The downfall of idubbbz has been going on since 2020, and I think this is the peak of it. I don't see how he could come back from this. As a matter of fact, I'm actually curious on how well his last video did. 275K, which is not bad, but for a channel with over 7 million subscribers, that is not very bueno, to put it lightly. I don't know what else to say besides comment idubbbz L. His downfall is his own doing. And idubbbz and Anisa are horrible, disgusting people, and they deserve every bit of this downfall. I do not feel bad for them, and if they went broke and they both needed to start an OF to support themselves, I would be laughing, and I might review it for content. But anyways, that's enough of my yapping. Make sure you drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're trying to hit 600K before the end of the year, and I would love to have you guys join the journey. With that said, I'm out. Bye.